right now. I promise you, it really is. This is great.
Well, that's awesome to hear that, and I know how you are, so I figured you'd love that. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
It's when you talk about mobilizing things, I mean, think about it. We mobilize around our massive support for white economic supremacy.
got that
That's
right.
that's called getting up and going to work every day.
That's right.
Look at how many millions of black people get are very disciplined to get up every morning 6 a.m. and show up to work on time,
Hmm.
all to make other people rich. Like
Hmm.
we are dedicated to that. Like we go
100%.
all to the wall with that. So
Absolutely.
so my
Balls to the
thing is
wall.
like, if we can do it for them, why can't we do it for us? And who taught us that we're not worth the same effort that we give to other people? That so to me, this ain't even there ain't nothing advanced about this space. This is what you call common sense.
See, this is common sense for the people of this community. This is not common sense for everybody. So, for you to get up, and mindset is like 80% of success. You having the discipline to get up, to listen, to pour into yourself, to do the things, to get yourself prepared for the day, because how you start your day is how you're going to end your day. So if you're starting your day and you're saying, you know what, this day sucks. This is early. I hate, what is this, Tuesday? I hate Tuesdays. I can't wait for the weekend. F that. Yeah, that's how your day is going to be. But you get up, you pouring into yourself. You're pouring into you're pouring into your mind. You're doing your affirmations. You're praying. You're meditating. You're doing all of those mental things. Everything else is gravy. Everything else is
Mhm.
easy. It's a piece of cake. So this right here is everything. I'm telling you. So I just want to give you guys props. Be1 Nation. I want to give y'all props for getting on here and listening. Boyce is one of the most intelligent minds in this generation. So
Mhm.
you guys are definitely blessed, and I love it. I love Black people pouring into themselves. Makes me want to cry. I love Black people, and I love to see
Wow,
everything
wow.
done.
Well, thank you for that compliment. I appreciate that. You
Really?
gotta tell that to my our teenagers. They
Yeah.
they they don't think I'm that smart. So it's
Yeah, mine either.
you know how these the kids. They
Yeah,
they
mine
just
either. Trust. And
oh
if my
yeah,
son
you
come walking over here with no shirt on, I'm not in my normal place today. Just I wanted to go warn him before I got on. Like, don't come over here walking over here waking up with no shirt on. By the way, I do want to say this. So my son is at him. I have four kids. One graduated from Hampton, one is at Hampton, and one's getting ready to go to Jackson State, and one's getting ready to be a junior in high school. And so my son, who's he's going to be a junior at Hampton, he just kind of last minute applied at Howard, just thinking I may want to go there, and he got accepted with a scholarship. So I'm extremely proud of him.
yes.
So he's actually toiling. That's one of the things we were up late last night, just kind of talking about the pros and the cons because he wasn't sure if he wanted to go. But it's more, and he wants to get into law, so it's
Mm.
leaning more towards him going to Howard, which I'm extremely excited about because here we are in the DMV, in an area where you have high affluence. There's going to be more opportunity in the law space at Howard. I think the only thing that's kind of holding him back is his friends over there. But I'm like, F your friends, let's get this money. So I'm
Mhm.
excited about that for him. He's still
Nice.
supposedly making his decision, and he has to make his final decision tomorrow. But I'm pretty sure that
Wow.
and if he don't, I'm gonna uppercut him a couple of times. But I'm pretty sure he's gonna go to Howard. So
So he's so what about 17? Is that right?
no, this is the one. So this is the one. So y'all, if you guys have not heard my story, when my son was 12, this is before I knew Boyce. So when my son was 12, my daughter was 17, my other son was 10, and the other one was 8. I buy the Dr. Boyce Watkins stock trading program. Right. So, oh, I wish I had the video. I could show y'all. So, I say to all my kids, the parable of the talents, that story in the Bible, you give them something, what they going to do with it. So I give it to all my kids. I say, yo, I'm going to give you this. If you guys, finish it, I'm gonna give you $1,000 a piece to invest in stock. This is this son right here. And so I give it to all of them. My daughter, she was 17, she thinks she's rich. If it didn't have nothing to do with Snapchat, she didn't want to do it. So she didn't do it. And my other ones were just simply just too young. And
Mm.
but this one, he was 12. He was excited. So he went through the training, and I quizzed him after because I sort of listened to it, and I quizzed him after. He was getting them all right. What's equity? What's this? What's this? He was telling me what's stock and it's buying a company. He was so excited. And I said, what am I gonna do? And this boy used to slobber too. What am I gonna do? He's like, you're gonna give me $1,000. So I give him $1,000, and he takes that $1,000. He makes $8,000.
Wow.
And it took him about 2 years, right? So he's 12. It takes him about 2 years to make $8,000, but he just played with it and he used all of those terms. And then when he turned 17, he took my $7,000 portfolio. This was during the pandemic, and he made $40,000 in three
Mm.
months. And so I attribute that to him taking your program, learning all of that. And he totally admires you, Dr. B.
Wow.
But it's that son right there. He
Wow.
I always tell him he gonna be my ticket out the ghetto. So
Well, what's your son's name?
his name is Warren Carter Jr.
Warren. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I got to meet Warren.
you
Have
gotta
you
meet him.
you bring him to the convention?
I brought him to PNC last year. He's in
Hmm.
school typically in October. But since I don't know, so I'm gonna try to bring him this year. You know, I bring my daughter every year, but I'm gonna
Yeah,
try to
yeah.
bring him with me as well because he needs to be in those places and in those spaces and meet really great minds. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yeah, yeah. Bring Warren. I definitely look forward to meeting him. And I'm inspired by the story, by the way. Thank you for
yeah,
sharing that. And
yeah.
yeah, if anybody wants to check out the Black Business School for Children, it's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. That's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. And basically the goal was I just saw it's almost like with our kids, you see so much wasted potential. You see so many kids that can do amazing things. Like I just saw this video of two teams of first graders playing basketball against each other in the national championship, and these first graders were hooping like grown men,
Wow.
6 years old.
Hitting
They
them
could they
threes
could
and
they could
everything.
yeah, they could barely haul the ball up to the basket, but the little 6 year olds hitting 3 pointers and doing crossovers and all that. And I said, okay, so we kill it when we're doing something that we understand the value of and we're really committed to it. And so my feeling is, in addition to being great at that, let's also do the same thing with our kids when it comes to wealth and investing. Why is it that the first time a kid learns about investing is when they're 34, 35 years old? Like, you ain't supposed to learn about stock when you're 34. You're supposed to learn
Right.
about stock when you're 4. You know what I'm saying? Like, that gives you a 30-year head start. Do you know how much wealth can be built in a 30-year period? Any person in this room could be a millionaire in 30 years by doing basic, consistent investing plans. It's very easy. You've seen the $5 a day plan. So when you waste 30 years, see, people think we waste money. We don't just waste money, we waste time.
Right.
And so you spent 30 years not teaching that kid what he's going to need to survive. And then we wonder why we got so many men and women out here that are struggling. Can't pay the
Right.
rent, can't pay the bills, babies mamas, and just struggling with financial situations that are easily avoided if you simply do some basic preparation. So what I see with Warren that's really awesome to me, first of all, Warren's definitely going to be a millionaire. There's no question about it. But also what I see with him is he's already doing grown man stuff. He's already prepared for a world that I believe is built on economic warfare, where economic power is used to enslave Black people. Is used to enslave Black men and Black women, to exterminate Black men in some cases, and definitely to exterminate your soul, right? To have you serving some master instead of serving your purpose,
Right.
and or serving God or serving whatever it is you're supposed. So they steal your purpose from you. So for me with Warren, what I love is the fact that he already has seen a lot of different ways to make money at an early age. So when you come to him and you dangle some little black job over his head, the whole conversation about black job, we need more black jobs. You dangle a little black job over his head. Warren's gonna be like, thank you. I appreciate the 80,000 a year, but I got 800,000 a year over here.
That
You know
part.
what I mean? Or and in fact, I've seen that also even with my own brother. When he went to Cornell, to get an MBA because he promised my mother he'd get a master's degree. My mother wanted all of her kids to have a master's, so he did it out of respect for mama. But when he got done, all the Cornell grads were being offered very nice, fancy jobs and doing all these interviews. And my brother was like, I ain't doing none of that. He's like, I got a business that my brother's been holding down for me, while I finish school. I'm gonna go back and work on my business because I understand freedom. I understand what wealth looks like. And now he's doing multi-million-dollar business deals. He ain't looking for a black job.
That part.
So,
That
so
part.
I just think there's so much more out there for our kids, and I want them to be able to see all that.
And having access, so for everyone that's watching, understand that access and proximity is everything. So
Mm.
being around the people that are doing the things that you aspire to do, coming to ABNC, it's been life changing. Being in places and spaces where you have people who are doing it, where you have great minds, where you can network, because your network is your net worth. And I did that at an early age with my children. I made sure that they were around people who of prominence, that they knew that this was something that they could reach out to, and it's funny because, I joke about my kids, my son being my ticket out the ghetto. I actually live in one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the country, and we're the poorest ones over here, which is great. It's the wealthiest Black neighborhood. So I lived in a neighborhood like this in California, and we were the only Blacks, and my kids' friends used to say, are your parents drug dealers? Because they didn't see Black wealth, right? So then I moved to the East Coast. I'm in an area where everybody, in this area is Black and they're very wealthy. And it's great because I'm like, now, we go from, being sort of at the higher echelon, which we're still doing well, but there's people here, driving Bentleys and Ferraris. And so they're able to see that. And they see, for me, and it's not about the material, it's really that these things are attainable because they're able to see it. They're able to grab it. The people they're around, the friends that they hang around with, they're able to see this Black wealth. So the reason why I'm in these places and spaces is because I go to conferences like A, B, and C, and I'm around people like Dr. Boyce, and I make sure that I'm intentional about the people that I meet when I'm there. When I go there, I say, somebody here is going to change my life. Every single conference I go to, I'm very intentional about somebody that I'm going to meet. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be anybody on the stage. It could be somebody in the bathroom. But I'm going to meet somebody that's going to do something where I'm going to collaborate in some way, or, that they're going to change my life in some way. And I tell you, the first year when I went to A, B, and C, I had a meeting with somebody that I knew for 10 years at the time. It was Emmerich Peace. I was buying a building in California, and we just happened to have lunch. We were already friends. And I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with this building. And he gave me this great idea, multi-million-dollar idea. And I was like, you're the person that I was here to meet, even though I already knew him. Right. So it's just being intentional about being in those places and spaces, and getting access and proximity to the people that are doing the things that you want to do. I think that's also extremely important, Dr. B.
I love that. I love what you're saying. The ABNC, but which, by the way, the ABNC is the All Black National Convention. It's going to be October 25th through the 27th in Chicago. If anybody wants to join us, that to me is what, I can't take credit for this. I think somebody like Dr. George C. Frazier is much more qualified to discuss this than I am, in the sense that he always understood and explained that a lot of your wealth is with each other. And instead of spreading out, getting away from each other, which is what, unfortunately, some parts of integration kind of taught us. He says, no, come back together, recollapse, pull together, pull that power together, and look at the gold that's buried in your backyard. You go to the convention, and you will meet those people that will change your life. You will meet those people who don't just have skills and access that you may not have, but they have the right energy. And a lot of us don't. And maybe you can talk to that, because I know you're a very experienced businesswoman, things like that. And a lot of times when we get in these conversations about wealth and money, it can become a little too capitalist, where it's all about the money. And it ain't just about the money. It's the energy too. You want to work with people that are going to enhance your life. Like, you wouldn't want to spend time around somebody who help you make $1 million, but they stress you out and get you arrested, or should drive you crazy, make you miserable, destroy you in the process. And you see that a lot. And that's what I love about the ABNC is that the energy just is off the charts in terms of the positivity, and everybody just kind of gets it. Ain't nobody running around scared of being Black. Everybody wants to be
apologetic.
Yes. Yeah, unapologetic, but without all the anger and the vitriol and the hatred, right? Because I think even anger and those negative energies like anger, jealousy, revenge, just all that, that's not good for you, right? So it's like, no, you can love Black people without hating white people, without getting up and just being mad every single day. And so maybe you could talk about that, like in terms of your experience at the convention, and the people you met.
I tell you, it just keeps getting gooder and gooder and gooder. And when you talk about Dr. George Frazier, he's both of our mentors, right? So
Yes.
I actually met you at the Power Networking Conference, but those types of conferences, and equally as important is the ABNC, where again, just being in the right places at the right time. I tell you, when I first started going to conferences, and this is why, go to a variety, invest in yourself. I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in myself because I have a PhD, a public high school diploma. I ain't a doctor like Dr. Boyce. I got a high school diploma, and that's the reason why I'm so adamant about my kids going to HBCUs, because that was my lifelong dream. But But I
Right.
had to invest in myself because I knew my limitations. And so I remember first when I first started even going to the Power Networking conference, me and my girlfriends, we looked, I was just talking to my girl yesterday about it. We looked the part. People thought we were millionaires and we couldn't rub two nickels together. We was waiting on sponsors. We was sitting at the bar hoping somebody buy us a drink. We looked the part, but we ain't had no money. And then as we start to go and grow, our network started to change. We started being around people who were doing it, who inspired us, millionaires and billionaires, Black people who were doing a damn thing. And so they started, sharing and introducing. And that's how I was able to grow, is just the access and proximity. So I really want to encourage you guys. You guys got to be there. I'm going to be there. And so I would love to meet all of you guys out there. But this is an investment. It's an important investment that you can make in yourself that I think will be life transformational for you. Getting in the room. Zoom is cool. Being here is great. But being in the room, there's nothing like it. So I definitely recommend you do that for sure.
Wow, I really love that. And so, and everybody, in case you just came in, I'm speaking with Constance Carter. And Constance Carter, I'm just let you, first of all, this is a sacred space. I bring people in when I really know they can add tremendous value to our conversations. As you all know, if you've been doing Money in the Morning, which by the way, Constance, we've done this every single day, 7 days a week. We missed a couple of days because I had to travel, stuff like that. But I think by now we've probably done maybe just in this year alone, I want to say 200 different trainings, like, where we've covered different economic concepts. And so this is what we do. And by the way, if you're not on the text list to receive an invitation to Money in the Morning, just pull out your phone, text the word morning, MORNING, to the number 87948. Text morning to 87948, and I'll send you an invitation each morning. Now, Constance, let's talk about your experience in real estate and just kind of you're joining us. By the way, Constance is joining us in the Black Business School, and she is, and I don't even want to just define her as a person that is knowledgeable about real estate. She's knowledgeable about a lot of topics, and as you can see, she has a really awesome and dynamic personality, and she's just a great human being. Tell us about how just what got you. Let's just start with real estate. What got you into real estate? What was your story there?
So I love real estate and I love what it does for people. When I got into real estate, so I got married very young before my prefrontal cortex was developed. So don't judge me. But anyway, no, I'm just kidding. Got married, and so one of the things that my ex-husband did very well is he said we should buy a house. And I never, I'm 23 years old. Okay. So we buy a house. It's like an hour and a half away I'm from San Jose, California. So we buy a house. And it was a horrible experience. Like we would drive an hour and a half up there to see a house, and the lady would be an hour late to come and show us the house. She was just like, she didn't care about us. Anyway, we get in this house. We tell her it was like a foreclosure back then. This is 299. And she tells us we tell her what we want to bid, and she bids $20,000 more than we ask her to. So then the house is a foreclosure. So there's all these things gone. No linen closet, no cutting board, no dishwasher stove, none of that. And so she says, don't worry, I'm going to make sure all of that stuff is in by the time you get in. And of course she didn't, and we didn't hear from her again. So, then we're 23 and we have this horrible experience, and I go broke, just using my credit cards trying to get this house habitable. But home ownership was everything. Nobody in my house, no one in my family owned any property at that time, maybe one person. And then I started helping, hey, you should buy a house. You should buy a house. People told me it was going to be impossible for me to buy a house. They told me I was never going to be able to buy a house. Why would you buy a house? Why would you move an hour out there to buy a house? And so I said, I love the process and I don't want anybody to go through what I went through when I purchased my home. So I got my real estate license, encouraged by, my husband at the time. And I got my real estate license, and I did very, very well because I did real estate very differently. It wasn't about the transaction for me. It was really about the transformation. So I could recall even the first email I sent out to everybody I knew. Your database was your email. Your database, there was no social media back then. So it was just email. Hey, everybody, I'm in real estate. And I remember someone saying back to me, why did you get into real estate? And I was like, I just want to help people. And it turns out a lot of Black people need help. We need help. And that's based upon historically what's going on in this country. We've redlining and predatory lending, all the things that have happened. What I found is if you can help people in their journeys in one way or another, and this being real estate, then you'll be blessed. And only thing I really wanted at the time was to buy diapers because my daughter was in diapers and to pay for daycare. That's all I wanted. I wasn't trying to get rich. I just wanted to pay my bills.
Mm,
But I did very well. I started this transformational sort of way of doing business. And, I wasn't just trying to call 100 people, get 2 appointments and get 10 appointments, close 2 deals. It was more, can I help your mama, your auntie, your cousin, your sister,
mm.
and everybody in your family. And so I did that for my family. Everybody in my family has a house or three. And I started helping
Wow.
other people in that way. Started my real
Wow.
estate company, Catalyst Real Estate Professionals, on that with that same thought, and then just recruited people with the same mindset who just wanted to help people. And we ended up being the largest Black-owned real estate firm in California.
Wow.
So we just built out this amazing, amazing company and just helping people and helping thousands of people do the same thing. And I helped a lot of agents build their real estate business by the same method of being transformational rather than transactional. And so that's sort of been my thing. So since then, I own real estate, Airbnbs, commercial properties, single family properties, multi units. I'm a cannabis investor, but all of these started from being a real estate agent, becoming an expert at one thing. And then I was able to invest in all these other multiple things, wrote books. Like I was just telling you, I was up late last night because I was updating my credit book because, some laws have changed since then. But all of those were birthed out of me just wanting to help people. Somebody said, "Hey, Constance, you should write a book." I don't come up with these great ideas. Somebody told me. My ex-husband told me I should get in real estate. Okay, let me do it. How can I help people in doing that? And that's sort of what I've done. So that's sort of how my real
Wow.
estate career went.
Well, I got another question then. When did you become a rapper?
Oh,
Y'all don't know this, but Constance is
it.
she isn't just a rapper, but she's really got bars. She got candy bars. That's how I got to call her candy bars or something. Because Constance did a rap song for Catalyst Real Estate and had all the people on the team that were like kind of background, I guess part of the performance. I think they actually had verses in the
They
song.
have verses too, yeah.
And the song and y'all is a lot. See y'all don't maybe if y'all know me, if you don't know now, I really am I'm a student of hip hop. I listen to lyrics. I check to see if the beat's any good, and I was like, okay, this is actually really good. So you cannot tell me that you were not at some point a pretty serious rapper.
I
Uh,
tried to be back in the day. My rap name when I was, y'all don't laugh at me, it was Sugar Rocks.
Sugar Rocks.
Don't nobody better say nothing.
I'm sorry. I'm just because you now let me ask you. It's not a bad name. Okay, so
It was
because I'm thinking
89.
about, are you from the Bay area? Is
Yes, I'm
that
from
like
the Bay.
okay,
Yes.
born and raised? So when
Yes.
I think Bay, I'm thinking about all the creativity out there. Just so many artists I respect. My favorite back in college was actually Spice One.
Oh, Spice
Yeah.
One. Is
Oh
that
yeah.
right?
Yeah. One of the greatest
Welcome to
poets
the
of all time.
ghetto.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Welcome to the ghetto. Spickety One. Like I used to get every album that he put out every year. And then I think
Wow.
about E40. And
Yes.
of course, you can't mention the Bay without. And then there's some others out there as well. So the creativity in the Bay is so amazing. It's like the Bay is another planet.
I'd
You
be
know,
more hipper than a hippopotamus.
right,
Like
right.
a neurologist.
In
Yes.
your head like a neurologist.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when I was thinking about, so when you said Sugar Rocks, I was like, okay, I
Oh my
remember
God.
E40, Sugar,
Yeah,
Sugar.
yeah. Sugar T.
That's
You know
my
what?
suit.
Sugar T, that's my homie. And I met her
Yeah,
right here.
yeah.
You
Well,
introduced
Sugar
me.
T. Yeah, Sugar T's been on here a few, two or
Yes.
three times.
Yes, you
Yeah, yeah. She's
introduced me to Sugar
awesome,
T.
and she's Doctor Sugar T now, I
Dr.
think.
Sugar T. Yep. Yep. She's
Yes,
a homie.
and
I
a
love her.
wonderful lady. And
Good
she's a
woman.
grandma now and everything. And
Yes.
she's really advocating for women in hip hop, which I really love. Because it's like, everybody ain't supposed to be Megan the Stallion and Cardi.
Right.
You need that to broaden that space. And I love what she's doing and I support that. And so so when you said sugar, I thought about that. But then I thought about rocks, it makes me think about crack rock. So sugar rocks,
Don't
like
do that.
my lyrics are so dope. It's like sugar and crack
Oh,
rock mixed
okay.
together. Is that what
I should
is that
I
what
should
you were thinking?
I was only in the seventh grade. I didn't know nothing about crack rock back then, but my yeah, no, you don't even want to hear my raps back then. It was horrible, but it was Sugar Rocks.
Okay, sugar rocks. That's and then it makes me think of like rock candy or
Well, I mean, you have Roxanne Shante, you know, you have the real
Oh,
Roxanne,
oh,
Roxanne,
like so not like
Roxanne,
rocks like the rocks you throw, but like
ROX,
ROX.
X.
Oh, sugar rocks. Okay, or also you could use the other ROCKS,
Yeah,
right?
I guess for
She
crack.
rocks.
Oh
She
yeah,
Roxy, and then you've got just rocks that you throw at people, or rocks, crack rocks that you smoke. So there's a lot of different ways to use the word rocks. Okay, great. All right, so sugar rocks.
I don't
So
like you.
you,
Don't
so
don't
how
ever.
how far did you go in your rap career? Like, did you actually do a demo album and shop it around and
No,
sell it
I
out the
didn't
top
shop
of
it
your
around,
car?
but we did do some demos back in high school. Yes, we had some. You know, me and my cousins, we had some bars. Yes, we
That is so
did. We had no group.
okay. So since we're making embarrassing hip hop confessions, I used to have a breakdancing group when I was in the seventh grade, and it was me and a white boy, and we used to call ourselves the Salt and Pepper Shakers. Tell me I love that name. I stand on business
No,
when it
you
comes
don't. No, you don't.
to
No, you don't.
that.
No, you don't. What was you doing? You was shaking. Y'all was shaking. How what was y'all doing?
Yeah, we come out. He do his white boy thing, and I do my thing, and I think I was a better dancer. But shoot, when the
Not
salt
the
and pepper
salt and pepper
shakers came,
shakers. Don't tell nobody.
remember
Don't tell
see back.
nobody else. Don't tell nobody else. Don't tell.
So we all got a pass. Don't y'all be in there
Okay.
laughing.
Right, right,
You got a
right.
pass
So next
too.
time you see Dr. B at A, B, and C, go ahead and call him the pepper shaker.
Okay. So we know about your hip hop background and your experience in the music industry, or it may be limited, but you moved into real estate and you carried
Yes.
that with you.
Yes, I
And
did.
I thought that song was just a great expression. It was a
Thank
great
you.
way to kind of show what Catalyst was doing and everything else. And so let me ask you about this then. Okay, so your passion for finance and real estate came from a desire to just really help others and what you would do. Okay, so tell me about that part of yourself in terms of how you. It seems like you view yourself as a servant to family, community, and others. And tell me more about that.
I mean that's life. That's what I do in life, period. It's more of a fulfilling life when you're able to just be of service to people. You know, who was that? Ziegler said, if you could help one person become a millionaire, if you could help other people become a millionaire, then you too will become a millionaire. But I think even when I was working in the Silicon Valley and I was commuting, you know, the hour and a half, 2 hours every day over that to the Silicon Valley, I had to in some way justify um what for me what was bringing me there every day. And it was like, okay, I'm in IT. I'm helping people with their computer problems. Like I had to, in some way, that have some kind of something that helped me to get up and go to work every day. And so I've always had this servant mentality. I don't know, maybe my dad instilled it in me, but it's what makes my life so much more meaningful. So I try to find a purpose in everything I do. So, you know, helping Black people. I love Black people. I love, 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 love us. And so I did a TED talk and I talked about it's called Google That Shit. If anybody hasn't watched it, it was a great TED talk, I think. But I talk about closing the wealth gap. That's really been what my life has been about, is just helping Black people, because I know we are resilient people. When you talk about real estate, after all the things that we've gone through in this country systemically over the past 400 years, and all the obstacles that they've thrown in our way to literally try to stop us. We didn't get here on our own. But still, we're 44% of us are homeowners, which means that we're resilient, which means that we are still, even though they specifically put things in our way, they try to block us. 44% of us are still homeowners. So that gives me great pleasure being able to help us, knowing that we still have a long way to go. I'll never be broke because so many of us need help. But we've come so far because 70% of them are homeowners without any obstacle, and 44% of ours with all of these systemic obstacles that have been put in our place, put in our way. So just sitting on the front row and seeing the success of other people is what drives me.
Well, I love that. And by the way, everybody, if you just came in, I'm talking to Constance Carter, and Constance is an expert in real estate, among other things. And Constance is actually joining us this week in the Black Business School. We're going to have a special event with Constance that involves understand or getting started with real estate. If that's something you'd like to join, it's completely free for everybody that's in here. I'm going to send out the link for you to join. So is it Thursday night at What time, Constance? Do you have the time?
8:30 Eastern.
8:30 Eastern Thursday night. If you get on the text list, I will text it out to you. Just if you want to be on the text list, make sure you text the word morning to the number 87948. Text morning to 87948. Or if you are in another country and you want to join and you can't get on the text list, just go to drboyceelevate.com, drboyceelevate.com, and I'll send you an email with a link where you can join the event on Thursday night. I don't have the link in front of me, so I can't put it in the chat, but I will text it out to you and email it out to you later. It's going to be Thursday night, and it's going to be awesome. And I'm going to pop in. We're headed to Egypt the next day, so I'll be there for a second. But it really be Constance's conversation, and she's somebody that I think that you all, as you can see, she's really cool. What you're seeing, a lot of you maybe for the first time, is what I've seen for a long time. Constance is she joins the ladies on Fly Nubian Money with my wife, Dr. Alicia, and Jade Arundel, and some other really amazing Black women. One of my fundamental core beliefs is that as a community, we really got to listen to our women and at a higher level. You know, Constance, I feel I feel like I don't know. Not to say that Black women are left behind in every way. I think that there's some areas where Black women have achieved a certain degree of prominence, but I really still kind of feel like there's sort of the level of reverence and respect for the voices of women isn't where it should be as a community. You know, it doesn't match, for example, the respect I have for what my mother would say or what my grandmother would say. Do you feel that way, or like do you feel like so? For example, if I were to say name the most famous Black attorney in America, people would say somebody like Ben Crump. But if I said, okay, name the most famous female Black attorney in America, nobody would have a name. You know what I mean? You know,
Well,
right?
now we do, Kamala.
Well, okay. Well, there we go. Okay. And that's a debate, right? We had a debate about that in before you and I were talking privately, and I said Kamala is certainly qualified for a lot of great jobs. Like I think that she's really good at what she does, super smart. If you vote for her, I support you. Um, I'm gonna do something that I want to do I'm gonna do what I choose to do, and you have a right to choose. But I will say at the end of the day that Kamala is half Jamaican, and I do think it's okay for African Americans to say, yeah, she's half Jamaican, but she's not African American, which is a kind of a difference there. Like I believe if Kamala was African American, 100% African American, married to a Black man, and they both lived in say Southside Chicago and really connected to the issues of African American people, I don't even think she would have been the nominee. Do you think that that statement is out of pocket? If so, why? Or what do you think about that?
No, I can 100% agree. I can 100% agree with that. However, I do consider her Black. I mean, she is Black. She's her dad is Jamaican. He has a history of slavery in his family, and I know. And let me say this before we get even on politics, because politics can be very polarizing.
Yes.
And so we don't have to be enemies because we don't think the same. Okay, y'all in the comments.
Yeah, give us a yeah.
Let's
Let's pause on her point. Give us a yes in the comments if we can talk about politics and not end up wanting to kill each other. I hate that civil war. I'm not gonna fight no another Black person over politics. You know, and I like it just when like they were crazy stuff with D.L. Hughley and all that. I said, why are you fighting me over this? Fight me. Let's fight for our children. Let's fight for something that really
right,
matters. I'm not participating in no civil war with you. So
right.
thank you for giving us the yes. Okay, please continue,
Yeah,
Constance.
yeah, yeah.
Your
It's like
opinions on
having us on the plantation out there fighting each other for their entertainment, and this is what we're not going to
exactly.
do, right?
Yeah,
um,
precisely.
but I believe that she is a Black woman. I believe that her dad is, even though he's Jamaican, she's Black. They came up with the one drop rule, not us. And she
Mm.
was born in America, therefore she's African American. Now, the same thing that they say, I've heard people say, well, Elon Musk is African. Don't come with that bullshit, because that's not the same. However, comma, so I do agree with you to your point. She would not have been that far. Just like Obama, I love Obama, but he is not an a FBA, right? He's
Mm.
his ancestors weren't enslaved here in America, but she's come from a line of slavery. Now, people who try to discount her Blackness by saying her dad is not Black, he's really Black, y'all. He's a Jamaican Black. He's not Indian. He's Black. His ancestors are from Africa. Yes, I seen her grandmamas. They Black. Yes. Okay. So I just want to clear that up. Okay. Before she got in the race, I will say, I was like, I ain't voting for nobody. I'm going to vote, but the last election, I left that part blank. I will say that. I'll admit it. But and then when and I think we spoke on that day when he nominated her, when he passed the torch to her, I was like, wow, is this a good idea? I didn't know that people were going to mobilize around her
Mhm.
after that happened. But I tell you what, Boyce, what excites me is seeing them racists just squimish. I just seeing them just, they cannot stand the fact that this man will lose to a black woman. And that's what I love more than
Mm.
anything. I loved them hillbilly, non educated, low IQ, Mountain Dew, inbred racists that are Donald Trump supporters. They might jump off some cliffs. And I want to get my camera phone ready and watch them jump off a cliff when Kamala wins the election. That's the thing that's driving me more than anything, is seeing them racists crushed in the way they are. Because I tell you, they've been out in droves since Obama's election, telling us how
Mm.
they really feel about us, and to see them being the commander in chief being somebody that they hate so much, which is black and a woman, is going to be absolutely amazing, and that's what I look forward to more
Well,
than.
I can see that. I certainly can understand that. Yeah, I'll admit I'm holding out for a better deal to some extent. I kind of feel like I think about it like this. I think that without criticizing Kamala, the reality was she made it very clear. It's not like I'm doing things specifically for black people. And it does not make her a bad candidate. I would say I would agree with anybody who says that I think that she's just more presidential than Trump. Trump is kind of, he shoots from the hip a little too much. He's a little sloppy. He doesn't represent the country in a way that I think is appropriate. Whereas Kamala reminds me of Barack Obama in that they know how to act in public. They don't, Trump is just an arrogant kind of guy. So that's why you're not gonna see me running up voting for him, right? But I think when I look at politicians, just think to myself, why would I give energy to somebody who isn't trying to solve the problems that are important to me?
Understand.
I get it. I get it. Your job is it's I compare it to if your family is starving to death, people you have like relatives about to die because there ain't no food in the house, and then one of your cousins gets a job at Burger King. Well, you better make sure you can feed the whole family. Don't have us pull up to Burger King looking for food and then have you say, "Well, it's not like I'm gonna feed any of y'all specifically. I got to feed the customers." That's cool. Go do that. You go feed the people at Burger King, but just know that we're gonna have an issue with you. Because you got a chance to feed everybody, but you up here thinking about them before you thinking about us. You
Right.
better be sneaking some food out the back. You
Right.
know,
Mom,
like
give me some
don't be
crumbs or something.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's it also even reminds me of like anybody ever go to school where you got a friend and you were down for that friend and you were best friends and then for some random act of God they suddenly get in with the cool kids
Mm-hmm.
and in order to impress the cool kids they make fun of you or they clown you or attack. I can't I don't know I don't remember a specific incident where this happened to me, but you can imagine it's happening in a movie where somebody's trying to front for the popular kids, so they start making fun of the person that's really their good friend. That person ain't your friend. That's
That's
not,
right.
yeah. So I'm not saying, and again, I don't want to put that paint on Kamala at all because I think Kamala. She's getting enough. I got corrected. It's not Kamala. It's Kamala. I was like, oh, I'm
Is
sorry.
that my friend? Is that my friend?
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Well, one of my friends corrected me on it, so I
Oh,
was
I
like,
thought that was Dr. Alicia.
no, it was not Dr. Alicia.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
my wife, she has her own views, which I think she has a right to have. And I think at the end of the day, I think everybody has a right to do what they want to do and believe what they want to believe. So for me, it's kind of like we are we've been in kind of this code red state of emergency as Black people for a long time. We've been drowning economically for a while. We've been dead last economically for a while, for 50 something years. Our families are drowning, just broken, busted up. Our communities, in Chicago, 109 people got shot in the weekend and nobody said a word about it. So there are lots of things happening that, in my view, require our attention. And so it does not mean I have any disrespect for those who are doing something else, but it's like I'm tired of us being put in last place.
Right.
Where in this society are we really committed to something that puts us first?
Right.
Could you put Ukraine first? I don't know a single Ukrainian. You
Neither do
putting
I.
Israel first. I ain't got no desire to go to Israel. I ain't got nothing against them. But I ain't going. Israel. Why is Israel put ahead of us?
Right.
Because if this was happening to white women, if the things happening to black people were happening to white women, it would be top tier priority for the U.S. government.
100%.
So we are used to living in the basement and being this untouchable, forgotten class of people that are allowed to fester in the midst of unbelievable agony and suffering. I oppose that.
Yeah.
And I say
But
that
it's like our hands
please.
are tied though, boys. It's like, what do we
Mm.
do? Because our issues will never come to the forefront because the other issues are and every the vote or die. We're gonna die if we don't. It's always this huge. But there are some very serious issues that I think that are before us. But it's like everything is so big. It's like if we focus on the things that we need to focus on, then do we lose overall? Because if we say, you know what, I'm gonna stand my ground, and you're right. Like I was just like, fuck Biden, we got him elected. He did absolutely nothing for black people. We went in and signed the Asian hate bill. He did nothing for black people. They went in, they did stuff for gay people. They did nothing for black people. And it's because we keep inviting everybody to the party. We're people of color, we're minority. Everybody has our affirmative action, our DEI, and all that stuff. So that's also we help water down our causes by inviting everybody to the party. We should have done that in the first place. Number one. But number two is like, okay, I ain't voting for you. Fuck you. But then if we do that, and excuse me for those, I'm a Christian and I curse y'all. But if we do that, then we have things like Project 2025, which are very serious. We have things like police immunity that he's talking about, which is very serious. So I think, okay, we got to get these reparations, which is important. But then my sons, I have 3 black sons.
Mm.
And you mean to tell me police are going to be able to kill my kids with no impunity or with impunity? Last year, let me share a story with you guys. Last year, I was in California. My son was here and he was in Virginia. Now, Virginia has a lot of rural areas. And so he just bought this black on black Lexus. And he's on his way home from visiting his girlfriend. He's in Virginia. He's coming to Maryland. And he's like, Mom, police just pulled me over. And I'm like, okay. I said, well, just keep me on your lap. Actually, FaceTime me, just so we can make sure nothing happens. So we're chopping it up. He's sitting there like 5 minutes. We're just talking. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. We're talking about whatever. All of a sudden, my son is crying and begging and pleading for his life. I'm sorry. What did I do? I'm sorry. And there's a gun to his head. He has no idea. I'm sitting on the phone. We're on FaceTime. Now I'm recording at this point, and I see these tears streaming down my son's face and a gun to his head. And he's like, what did I do? And so it was a police officer that pulled him over for no reason. He couldn't find a reason. He tried to make up all these excuses, but the fact is, I couldn't see you. You had your black tinted windows. He saw a black face, black on black on black. Don't come in here, Warren. I hear him. Don't come in. He might come in here with a shirt off. But I said, but for no reason, driving while being a young black man. And this happens all over the country. Now, we've had these conversations before. I've had these conversations with all my boys about driving while black. Don't matter if they walk around with their pants pulled up today necks and how respectable they are. They're still seen as threats. So you have these laws put in place so that they can criminalize our young men with impunity, no immunity, or absolutely immunity if they kill us with impunity. I got to vote for making sure that my sons are safe as opposed to standing on business with the reparations. That's how I'm looking at it at this point. You know what I mean? So
I hear you, and I'm sorry that it happened to your son. I mean, I think that that's terrible. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing more to say about that. I mean, did y'all file a suit or something? Was there like grounds for a lawsuit?
no, we didn't. We didn't. I just kind of let it go.
Okay.
I have the video and everything, and
Mm,
I didn't even pursue it or anything like that. But he was real apologetic when he saw who my son, he's a college kid. He's innocent. And he just
mm,
thought he was just pulling over another criminal.
mm.
Uh, but yeah,
Interesting.
we did nothing.
That's really interesting. I mean, and those are really just challenging um topics to address because first of all, it's terrible. I mean, it shouldn't have happened at all,
No.
at all. And it's and and I grew up I saw a lot of cops. I've seen the good, bad, and everything in between with cops. My father was an officer. He was almost killed on the job, right? And he shot someone. He had to kill him. He was a white man. And in it was interesting because when he shot him, all the people in the neighborhood, a bunch of people in the neighborhood wrote letters to my father thanking him for dealing with this man because he'd been terrorizing the whole neighborhood for a very long time. And so I've seen everything. I've seen the evil that cops can do, and I've seen cops put their lives on the line for perfect strangers. I remember the fear my mother had every day of my father going out there and knowing that that day he may not come home. We may not have a father anymore because criminals ain't playing. Dope dealers don't care nothing about your family. My best friend Greg was shot in the head in front of his daughter by some black men. Right. Wasn't no Klansman that did it. Wasn't no white guy. It was black men that came in and shot him in front of his daughter. And I still talk to his daughter to this day. And so it kind of just becomes this really interesting and complex conversation where when I think about police, I think, okay, we need police because when we get in trouble, first people we call are police, but then police immunity obviously is very dangerous because there are that select group of cops that don't need that kind of protection at all, that are going to abuse that. And what the police conversation, the reason I didn't get involved with too much of it is because I've seen both sides of that, right? I've been a black man who was pulled over for no reason. I went to go do a job interview at a university one time, and a cop pulled me over at 2 in the morning because he thought I was a drug dealer, probably. And I remember he literally, he said, so what are you doing out? I said, I'm driving to this such university. Why? Because I'm interviewing for a job there. What kind of job? Faculty member. What do you teach? Finance. Where'd you go to college? University of Kentucky. He asked me 20 or 30 questions. I answered them in rapid succession. And then when we got done, he said, all right, well, have a nice night. He walked away. And I remember just thinking, this was so stupid.
You
This was
cannot
so
find a way to
annoying
criminalize
that I
you.
had to
Yeah.
do that. Right. And so the abuses occur. And I also think that it's important for us to really dissect these issues in a way where um, we know the difference between what is impactful on a broad scale versus what might not be. So, for example, even though I had that horrible experience of being pulled over by the cop for no reason, who really harassed the hell out of me, and I've been pulled over maybe 5 or 6 times. Most of the time, it was just okay, go on, or here's your ticket or whatever. Um, I think about as a black man, what are the things that really affect the majority of us on a day-to-day basis? While I cannot name, I don't have any black male friends who've been shot by a cop. I can name 1,000 black men who have to work for a white man every day and hate their jobs and are stressed out, dying, sick, irritated because. And while I can't name a lot of black men who were murdered by a white police officer, except for the ones I see on TV, I know a lot of black men who've been shot at by another black man. I know a lot of myself. I've had my life threatened multiple times by other black males. I've never had my life threatened by a Trump supporter. I've never had my life threatened by a cop. It did not to say it doesn't happen though. We know the dirty cops are out there, but I have had my life threatened by other black males. I told y'all about some stuff that happened. I got a death threat last week. So it's kind of like I think I think that what ends up challenging me is the difference between the conversations that white people tell us to have about our experience versus the conversations I think we really need to have. Or another thing, for example, while I saw the George Floyd shooting and all that, and it was terrible, or the killing, it wasn't shooting, sorry. Um, I'd never hear anybody talking about the thousands and thousands and thousands of black men and women right now who are being raped in prison.
Oof.
Y'all tell they'll talk they'll mark it on CNN all day long. One black guy who got shot in a certain city, and they'll hype it up because there's an election coming and they want to scare the shit out of you. But they won't say a word about the fact I got cousins, I got relatives who were sexually assaulted in prison multiple times. Nobody says a word. Nobody cares.
That's a
So
whole show right there. Ooh,
yeah, it's like
that's
this
a
selective
show.
outrage that doesn't add up for me, like when I look at the frustration again, we see what's on TV, but what's on TV, it can kind of become entertainment. For
Yeah.
example, when I hear people talking about all the Trump supporters that are coming to kill us, I just ask them, I say, well, where did they go into a black neighborhood and murder 300 people? Tell me where that happened because I need to know about that. Or show me where a Trump supporter pulled up on you with a gun and shot you, tried to
Well,
shoot you and your family.
boys, they don't have to because we're doing it ourselves. So, but here's the
Right.
thing. Here's the thing. Here's what my thought on that. I think the moment that we stop, then they
Hmm.
will start. They are very good at the pulling the strings of the annihilation of our people through
Mm.
what music.
Hmm.
Remember in
Yeah.
1955, J. Edgar Hoover
Yeah.
said the biggest threat to America was Negro unity.
Yep.
Negro unity. So every time we
Yep.
tried to have some type of unification, when you have you have MLK, you have the Black Panther Party. Yeah, what do you have as a result of that? The result of that is you have COINTELPRO. You have
Yes.
what's his name? Gary Webb. I'm from San Jose, so the
Oh yeah, the guy
Warner.
who uncovered the crack
Yes,
when they put the crack in the black neighborhoods. Yeah.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
Gary Webb, who
Hmm.
exposed the CIA for putting crack cocaine in the black neighborhoods. Guess what happened to him, boys? Guess what happened to him? He
Oh,
killed
he
himself.
killed him.
How? He killed himself by shooting himself in the back of the head twice. How do you do
Oh,
that?
how convenient is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that to me is the part that's just I don't trust any of these bastards.
No, no.
I know what the Biden crime bill was. It had the word Biden on it. Like so,
Absolutely.
and I know what it did.
Absolutely.
I don't and yeah, I know about Donald Trump. I've been knowing about Trump for 35 years.
Mhm.
So I cannot I think what it is I'm non-participatory in the sense of like I'm not gonna play that game with you where you trying to tell me that this white supremacist is better than the other one. I
That
know
part.
Kamala's different, right? We know Kamala, she got some color in her bones and all that. And I'm not here to indict her background at all. I'll let the critics kind of handle that type of stuff. So I'm not here to discredit. It's more so to say we know what the problems are and who the hell's gonna solve those problems.
That. Well, listen, remember the last election cycle, when we just black people think we're a monolith, and if we don't talk the same, then we're enemies, and we can't be friends and all that. But remember the last election cycle when Ice Cube came out and he had a
Mhm.
plan for Black America,
She did.
right?
Yes, she did.
And so then Nick Rose was mad because he talked to Trump. Trump is in office. What is he supposed to do? I reached out to Biden. Biden said, I'm busy. I reached out to
Mhm.
Trump. And then now black people are outraged that Ice Cube. And I remember being at a dinner party. I was in Puerto Vallarta with some well-to-do Negroes. We were out in the middle of the ocean on a rock, having dinner. And all they started talking, all of these uppity Negroes started talking about how Ice Cube was so in the wrong, and how he wasn't for the black people and all that stuff. And I went off on everybody, and I called them self-hating Negroes. And they all
They're not going to invite you back.
no, they not inviting me, and they got, yeah, it got real quiet. But I'm like, y'all all talking this, they're all talking on code. Like, it's like we all got to think the same. This man has a plan for Black America. What you Negroes got? Y'all have.
Mhm.
Ain't got
Nothing.
nothing. Somebody is trying to help us. But the thing about it is, if we all don't talk the same, then there's an issue. And that's, I realize there's certain things that we have to be on code about as black people. But we're not a monolith. We have different varying opinions and thoughts. And
Mhm.
I think we can talk, healthy. We can have healthy dialogue and talk solution. I think the real thing, just like you, Dr. B, it's all about collective economics. It's all about money. When it comes
Mhm.
down to it, it's all about the green. You know,
Yeah.
I often quote um what's that president? Um After Kennedy.
After Kennedy, Kennedy, I mean, I know that there was
Who's after Kennedy?
Nixon and
No,
but
no,
who
before
took
him.
who took over after Kennedy got shot? Oh my God, I should know this. Somebody Johnson, that's right, Lyndon
Lyndon
Johnson.
B. Johnson.
Yeah,
Lyndon
somebody
B.
got
Johnson said, if you could take the lowest white man and convince him that he's better than the best black man, he won't even know that you're picking his pockets. In fact,
him.
give him someone to look down on, and he'll give you everything he owns.
Mm,
So, for the people in power, it's about the power, it's about the money. But
mm,
what they're doing is they're keeping all of us, they're pulling the strings down here, and they're keeping all of us fighting so they can stay in power, so they can have all the money, so we can be broke. And so you have these white people, these hillbillies over there voting against their best interests because they
Mm,
they hate to see Black people in power. They hate to see Black people getting any kind of benefit. And then you have us that are so interdependent upon the government and all the social services that it really comes down to, if we start practicing collective economics like we did back in the early 1900s, then we're insulated. Asians have the lowest voting rate, but guess what? They're insulated. You know why? Because they practice collective economics.
hmm.
Yeah, they got the money. I was listening to a Jewish gentleman named Solomon Barrow on YouTube, and he said the reason why Jews, what are they, less than 1% of the population, but they have half the wealth in the world. You know why? Because they practice collective economics.
Hmm.
Guess what
Hmm.
we do? We don't practice collective economics. So
There
our
you
money
go.
goes out of the community, 6 hours, theirs stay in the community. But when we had to work together, we did. So the thing
Hmm.
that killed Black Wall Street for the final time was integration. When we stopped having to deal with Black people, we no longer did. We thought white
Hmm.
people's food was better than ours.
Right.
And now we give all our money to white men. We give our money to designer things. And if we start working together, then we're really insulated by the things that happen federally, really, because
Yeah.
now we're taking care of ourselves.
Well, politics is all driven by money, and you're
That's
100%
it.
correct. When you brought up a point earlier that I thought was really interesting, and it had to do with, it's interesting when you talk about Democrat Republican politics and when race enters into the picture. And you are 100% correct, right? You have a lot of people, say on the right, who will vote against their interests because now, especially lately, with Elon Musk and others being very vocal about race. And I think Elon Musk, for example, he was raised in apartheid South Africa, so I think that is kind of showing itself. But what I also noticed that's really interesting though is I have a lot of friends who are Black Republicans. I have a lot of friends who will go to a Trump rally. Some of them were there January 6th, and they didn't get treated poorly by anybody. Everyone treated them just
Wait,
like.
they were at the January 6th riots.
Oh yeah, there were Black people there. There were Black people, and that's the thing. That what's interesting is that you can accuse either political party of being racist, and you could go accuse either political party of being supportive of Black people. And what I mean by that is, I can look at the Republicans, and when you say that they have racism there, I'm like, yeah, I see exactly what you're talking about, right? It's 100% there. But then I know lots and lots of Black conservatives who feel, and I can tell you, when I sat next to Ice Cube and watched him kind of do his dealings, we talked a lot during that time. The Republicans were giving him more respect than the Democrats,
Yep.
right? But it wasn't because they like Black people. It was because they were trying to secure power. Black people are the ultimate pawn. We are an asset
Mm.
to a political party. So they said, oh, we got this rapper who is open to helping us get more Black votes. We're going to do something that his previous pimps are not doing. We want to be the new pimps. We're going to do something his previous pimp ain't doing, which is talking to him, because I remember him specifically telling me the Democrats were lying to him. They would not engage with him. They blew him off because they said, basically, Black folks, we don't need to do anything for Black people.
We got him because
Why are you
because Biden said you ain't Black if you don't vote for Biden. That's why.
Right, right, right. But then you can look over at the Democratic Party side, right? And you can accuse them of being both racist and supportive. The Democrats can be seen as racist when you look at things like the Biden crime bill, or you look at the benign neglect, just the neglecting the Black community. If you look at the way they treated Ice Cube when he came and said, "I'd like some policies for Black folks," but then you can say that they're supportive of Black people, which they can be. They can be very. I mean, think about this: you have so many Blackish people, or not quite always African American, but you have some African Americans even, they get these opportunities, and they're more, they will embrace like the bougie Negroes, like the ones that you spent time with that weekend. And I've seen people get opportunity, like I've seen Roland Martin's career literally shoot through the roof because it was tethered to the Obama rise. When Roland was an unknown journalist in Chicago, the Obamas were in Chicago, and as they rose, he rose. He got invited onto CNN a lot because he was connected to the Obamas. So you can see that, right? They are very supportive of Black people under one condition: as long as you are a fellow liberal. If you are a fellow liberal and you agree with them on abortion, then we love you. If you agree with them on LGBT, they love you. If you agree with them on trans, they love you. If you agree with them on other policies, they love you. And so that's why my wife is more of a Democrat, because she's a social worker and she fits into that narrative. Whereas I have people in my family who maybe are fire and brimstone sorts of religious folks, right? They look at the Bible, and when you present, and it ain't just about the racial part. If you present them stuff like, okay, here's a woman with a beard, but you're gonna call her Mrs. Smith, they're like, that ain't no woman, right? Or you talk about the LGBT stuff, they're like, no, I'm not with that. I don't want to know who you're having sex with. You talk to them about abortion, somebody like Angela Stanton King will say, look at how many black babies y'all exterminating black babies. That ain't cool. And I hear Angela, I'm like, I was one of those black babies they wanted to exterminate. So I'm a little offended when so it does not. But here's the thing though, you're just going to have people on different sides of the spectrum. So why can't we just call it what it is instead of trying to call it what it is not? And what I mean by that is, here's what it is. It's liberal versus conservative. That's what it is. If you're liberal, go to the left. If you're conservative, go to the right. No
But
problem.
there's no happy medium. I can't have a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Right. There's no happy medium because extremism wins. But then also it's like, stop trying to tell me that if I don't support you, I ain't black. That's
Right.
what I don't like. That's a
That's
don't
what
like.
Biden told you. Biden said that.
Right, that's some right, and the Republicans have their own way of saying it. Candace Owens spends every video
Oh,
probably
Jesus.
sitting with her little white husband in the other room, telling you that you're a sellout and that you're basically cooning if you're black and you're a Democrat, right?
Yeah.
And Candace does not have the license nor the authority to define what my version of blackness is going to look like, because, like you said earlier, black people are not the same. Some black people are liberal. Some black people, yeah, pro-choice, the LGBT, whatever the Democrats believe, they're in line with that. That's where they should be, right? Like, again, my wife, the social worker, she gets it. There's some black folks I know who are like, no, I'm not with the gay trans. No, I don't want my daughter competing with a dude in basketball
Right.
practice. I don't,
I don't
and
want them
for them
sharing a
that's
bathroom.
right. Don't want to share in the bathroom. I go to church and I don't just do whatever the pastor's telling me to do. I look at what the Bible says, because
Right.
there's different, even with the Christian church, we end up kind of having an interesting conversation, right? Because you got some folks that are like, we want to be hip and cool and democratic, so we're going to support everything, even if the Bible doesn't agree with that.
Correct.
But then there are some people who say, no, 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 the Bible on page 247, it says right here, and so that just says that there are different ways of expressing your faith. And I understand both, because I understand that I don't believe the Bible has to be taken literally in every context. But at the same time, I understand if you kind of like, look, I stand on something, that's just not what I believe, and I'm not supporting that. So why can't black people be conservative, and why can't black people be liberal? And I think it's because we are so accustomed to everybody sort of fitting on one side of the fence. And what happens is you end up having a lot of voter intimidation, a lot of voter suppression, where when a black person stands up and says, look, I'm not trying to do this over here, I'm trying to do something different, the first people to attack them are usually other black people.
Yeah.
Even when Cornel West was kind of challenging Obama on some things, first thing they did was, again, because we're all colonized, is they sent Michael Eric Dyson, one of his best friends, to attack him. That is insidious. That is flat out evil. And I
Wow.
and I told and I told Michael that. I told Cornell that. And Michael, to this day, Michael won't talk to me, and because I think he probably feels like I betrayed him. But I said, this is BS. You two were the best of friends, and you don't let these suckers up in DC who don't care nothing about none of y'all ruin your friendship. And the loser in the Civil War is always the people involved in the war. When the United States went to Vietnam, and we got the South Vietnamese brothers to kill their own siblings in the North, the big loser was the country of Vietnam. And what they should have said was all of y'all bastards get out of our country so we can reunify. Instead, they created a civil war that decimated that community for multiple generations.
Wow.
Colonialism does it all around the world. They did it in Iran. They did it in India. Lord knows they did it in Africa. We know about genocides that occurred in Africa because of the Hutus and the Tutsis. Y'all remember
Right.
Rwanda, right?
Yeah.
And that they're doing a baby Rwanda in the African American community, and I refuse to participate.
Good shit. No, that's good. And the issue is we just have a two-party system. That's the issue. It's like, if you either have to, the problem is they're both so extreme. They're both so
Mm.
extreme. It's like there's no happy medium. There's like, I want to support you Republicans, but I can't get with some of the shit you do, and I want to
Right.
support you Democrats, but there's some shit I can't get with you. So it's like I want a little bit of both, and then when you're independent, because I forgot that I had even registered independent, because when I went to the primaries I couldn't vote for nobody, but it's a good thing. because I don't agree with the 100% of anybody's politics. And so we only have a two-party system. What do? There's nobody that really holds your true core values. And so that's where the voting for the lesser of two evils comes in. That is that you have to vote for somebody. And so then you got to say, like I said, I have to stand on this business because we need reparations, but they're not going to give it to us. So I got to make sure that my kids are safe. So this is the way I have to vote. So how then do we, because what's the solution to that? How then do we, in spite of whoever's in office, what can we Black people do to make sure that we are insulated? And I think
Mm.
that's the conversation that we need to be having.
Yeah, yeah. I think the wealth conversation is one that we can all agree on. I think that rather than starting where we're divided, I think we start where we're in agreement. And
Yes.
so let's maybe we close up this conversation by asking everybody if you can give me a yes if you agree with this. And you may have heard me allude to this before. How many of you agree that we want Black wealth to go up and not down? Give me a yes in the chat if we can agree that wealth is a top priority, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, or even not voting. Can we agree that wealth is important? Yes, it is. Money, money drives everything. Money drives politics. Give me a yes if you agree that Black family, the idea of family and relationships with each other, not just marriage and all that. I'm talking about just relationships with each other, friend. That's important. That we should work to find reasons to support each other instead of finding reasons to fight. Give me a yes. You agree with that? Give me a yes if you agree that Black physical and mental health is really important, that we want our children to be healthy, wealthy, and strong. We want them to, we want to heal generational curses. We want to fix the trauma. We want to show up in a healthy way. We want to live longer. We want to think about, what we eat and exercise and all the things that are going to help us be healthy. Okay, so to me, I think if we unify around what we agree on, then we can say, okay, almost like for example, I can be your friend and not know nothing about who you having sex with. Like
Right.
that's your business, right? So same thing. I can be your friend and not know nothing about who you voting for. That just like sex happens in the bedroom and it's private. Your vote is private. It is in the voting booth. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Because after you come out of that bedroom, after you come out of that voting booth, I want us to walk around as brother and sister. I want
Right.
us to just say, okay, now let's get to the business of getting to the business. And I think that's a good way for us to kind of have these conversations without us wanting to kill each other. So I would encourage everybody listening, if you got that cousin or that relative who doesn't come to spaces like this, who's going to fight you all day because you voting for Trump or you're voting for Biden, don't participate in those fights. Just don't even do it. It goes to everybody. I told y'all about that craziness with DL and all that. I just said I'm not gonna fight you over this. I'll fight you over something else. I might
Did,
fight you
did
over
you did
there.
you tell him did you tell him what happened last week or no?
No, I'm not going to talk about the private phone call because that's not something I really need to bring out publicly because it was very serious. But I will say that I'll fight you over a Snickers bar and an ice cream cone before I fight you over this bullshit. That's it. Period. Straight. So anyway, guys, that's it. We're done. I want everybody to know, Constance, this week, Thursday night at 8:30, we are going to have an event that Constance is going to lead on getting started with real estate. And she's just one of the best. She's damn good at what she does. She's a great person, as you can tell. And so it's free to everybody who wants to join. I will send you all the link. I'm going to text it out a little bit later on today. And you can register 100% free in the Black Business School because you know what we do. We bring you the best, we bring you the brightest, and bring you the baddest. And Constance is right there at the top. So if you'd like to get that information sent to you, make sure you're on the text list. Text the word morning, MORNING, to 87948. Text morning to 87948. And also, Constance, what's your social media? It's I am Constance Carter.
I am Constance Carter everywhere on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can follow me on I am Constance Carter. And then I get on the Fly New Being Queen Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. In about 2 hours, we're gonna have a great discussion today. So that should be super duper fun. And boys, I always love having you and I could talk for hours about just different stuff and just keep going and going and going. So it's always so fun talking to you about
Same here.
whatever's going on, whether it's relationships or politics or whatever because and we have very different opinions about very different things, and so it's always great to engage and have dialogue with you.
Well, I love it. I love it. I learned a lot from talking to you. And if anybody wants to know the secret to that, it's like if you disagree with me, my goal is not to fight with you. I want to learn from you. That makes you smarter to understand other people's perspectives. And as my friend Dr. Nicole Price talks about, she uses the word empathy a lot. And I think empathy is important. I
Yeah.
think, but then again, unfortunately, empathy is a dimension of emotional intelligence that we're not trained to develop. And some people just don't have it,
Yeah.
so they're going to vilify you as opposed to try to understand you. But those of you that are in here, I encourage you to consider that. So that's my little trick. If, somebody says something, and I'm like, oh man, how could they say that? I'm like, no, 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 boys, calm down.
No,
Be
but you know what I
empathetic.
don't think people really understand, Boyce, is because people, I think they have a misconception about you. I know no one in the B1 community does, but when I tell people that I know you, they're like, is he an asshole? And I'm like, he's really not. He's really a really, really nice guy. He's really not that asshole. He speaks his mind, he
Yeah.
has an opinion, and he stands on what he stands on, but he's very kind, he's very empathetic, he understands, he doesn't care whether what you think. He says what he says, and that's just what it is. But he doesn't come from a bad place or a space. Good dude. And
Well,
so
thank
I
you.
think there's just a great misconception. Again, nobody here I know thinks that, but I think there's some folks out there that just think that that way, and it's simply not true.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't, I never want to be an asshole, but I'm definitely not a coward. And I think maybe
boom,
sometimes there,
that part.
right, right. I think some people think, yeah, I'm not scared to say what I need to say and be who I
Yeah,
need to be and to be black. I think we can't be scared of being who we are. Y'all know the truth.
yeah,
Why y'all running away from it? Don't have nobody out here got you out here code switching and being scared of God's truth. Like stand on that. And I promise you,
yeah.
the truth sets you free. It really does. So
Right.
anyway, so I want to say thank you, Constance, for
This
hanging
is
out.
great.
I've had a blast. This has been so much fun. And
Yes.
thanks to everybody who's been hanging out with us today. And again, Constance will be on Fly Nubian Queen. Are you going on there today?
Yeah, I'll be on there at 1 today. And then don't forget, join us on Thursday
Thursday.
night, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. We'll be talking all things real estate. And if you're a Black woman and you want to work with me, I do something special for Black women. You can go to my website, Constance Carter. It's called the Net 7 Collective. And I would love to talk to Black women because my thing is closing the wealth gap through Black women. That's one of the things, one of my passion projects that I'm working on. So if you're interested in working with me, I got to open up my calendar. Let's schedule a call. Go to bookwithconstance.com.
All right, bookwithconstance.com. There you go. All right, so thank you all for hanging out with us today, and thank you again, Constance. I look forward to working with you, and I can't wait to see the event on Thursday. And
Oh, it's going to be
also,
great.
yes, yes, 100%. And also, if you guys want to join the ladies on Fly Nubian Queen, they go live every day. The show's called Fly Nubian Money, so they bring everything back to money. It's a great panel of amazing Black women. You can text the word Queens to 87948. Text Queens to 87948. They'll send you a notification when they're live, and they do this every single day, Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, because we're building Black-owned media. That's what we're doing over here. So have a good day, everybody.
Wait, wait,
God
wait,
bless.
wait, real quick, real quick.
Oh,
The
sure.
people are asking about A, B, and C.
Oh, the ABC. Yeah. Well, the All Black National Convention, that's going to be October 25th through the 27th in Chicago, in a suburb of Chicago called Lombard, Illinois, at the Westin Hotel. Now, the discounted hotel rooms are going to be sold out pretty soon. So you may want to go and lock in your room. If you want to learn more about the convention, you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. Was that enough information? That
Yep.
got it? All right, perfect. All right. Well, thank you guys very much. And thank you again, Constance. And we will see you all, I guess, tomorrow. And have a
Gotta
good
have me on here again, boys.
Of course. Of
Fun.
course. Of course. Bye.